everybody, I'm the one they love to hate, and today we are going to do an eyebrow tutorial. So this is my brow with no pencil or shadow or anything. It is thin, but I do like the shape for the most part that I have going on. I do not have thick, bushy eyebrows. I've been plucking or shaving since 8th or 9th grade, so they barely grow in anymore, and they were always kind of sparse anyway. Always plucked. So anywho, I want to show you guys my favorite way of filling in my eyebrows, and that is with pencil. I have used brow powders or brown eyeshadows in the past to fill in my brow, and I liked those looks, but when I went back to using pencil this last time, I was like, why did I ever stop doing it this way? It just is the best look for me. I like it the most. So let's go ahead and get started. One thing I started doing in the past, I feel like I've been doing it at least a year, is priming that area. So I take just a dab of my Urban Decay Primer Potion. That's what I use, but whichever primer you use, I'm sure will be fine. And I just work that into that brow area. And the reason I started doing this was because whether it was pencil or shadow, by the end of the day, like half my eyebrow would be gone, or it would be faded, and it would be spotty. And that's not hot at all. Like, you can't walk around with half an eyebrow or with an eyebrow that looks patchy. It's just not cute. So I think one day I was like, let me put some primer up there. And sure enough, the next day when I got home, well, the morning I did that, and by the end of that day, I still had a full eyebrow. So this is the way I have been doing it. Like I said, I feel like it's at least been a year. My favorite pencils, and I've seen other people use these, and I've seen other people use other ones, and you have to kind of figure out which one works best for you. But for me, are the Maybelline New York Expert Wear pencils. Okay, so the first thing that I do after I prime is I draw the bottom line. And the bottom line is essential because it kind of sets the shape of the brow. So I go in sometimes a bit further than the natural brow grows, but I clean that up with concealer if it's in too far. So I just start at the base. I like a sharp angle too, y'all. And if I can, I do this in one fluid. That doesn't always work. So sometimes you gotta kind of short, feathery strokes. But I definitely want to get that line figured out. Okay. And sometimes I take it further down than where the eyebrow is actually going to end up, but that again is something that you can clean up with concealer. So once you've got that bottom line established, I draw the top line and try to get a shape, try to get the overall shape of the brow the way that I want it to look. So I just start at the top of my hair where it's actually growing, and then I just take that up. See that? See that? Okay. Now see how the top of that brow looks a bit artificial? I clean that up with my concealer. So I did that top line, and then I filled it in as I was going along. And this is where you can play with the thickness. Like sometimes I'll start it thinner than I want, and so then if I'm like, I want a little bit more than that, then I'll just go a little bit above that and fill in a line and then fill in that area. You guys see that? Okay. For the most part, that's good. So that's with the brow pencil, the dark brown pencil. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you guys that beforehand. I'm using the Maybelline Expert Wear in dark brown. Being a brown skin girl, this is the better one to start with. However, I'm going to darken this up with the Maybelline pencil in Velvet Black. The first line that I drew, I'm going to trace that with this Maybelline Expert Wear in Velvet Black. And what it does, it creates a contrast and an effect like you cannot believe. Like once I started doing this, I was like, oh my goodness, I love how my brows look. So I'm going to take this pencil and I'm going to just underscore my eyebrows. You see that? You see how like the difference that it made? What I do is I take my black pencil and I just kind of fleck in my eyebrows to give it a more natural appearance. So just like a fleck. I don't color in the whole brow. I just do short strokes here and there. The next thing I do is take an angled liner brush. Anyone will do. I got this one recently in a kit. I'll tell you about that later. And I dab it in a lighter concealer color, and then I go under my brows with that. And this just cleans it up and takes it to a whole nother level. So, hope you guys can see. I'm going right underneath that black pencil line. And honestly, if I don't like the line that I made, I clean it up with this. You guys see that? See how it cleans that up? And then I'm just going to blend that down. Oops, went into the eyebrow. You can always fix that though. So I'm going to do the same thing on the top of the eyebrow. And this is where if I don't like the shape that I have, I can really make some serious editing. Or do some serious editing. And this is also how you can make the brow thinner if you feel like you made it too thick. And then you blend that out. Do is I kind of fade this part out some so that it looks a lot more natural. So sometimes I'll just take a brush with a little concealer and kind of bring that in some if I've taken it down too far. Then something else that I like to do is dip that angled brush in concealer and just kind of play in that front part of the brow. Sometimes I'll just like do upward lines. But you just don't want it to be as dark right there. So it can look, see how that kind of faded it out? But I don't want it to be like just the eyebrow. See? This is how I do it. So this is how I do my eyebrows. And sometimes I edit too much, and if you do, feel free to go back in with your pencil. If you feel like you took too much off one place, just go back in with the pencil and thicken it up some. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this brow tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to post them below. Please rate, comment, subscribe. God bless.